Hey everybody, it's Sid again with RanSyd Gaming. Thanks for joining me for my second video here. The golden ratio. What is the golden ratio? Well, that's what I want to talk about a little bit as we open up a couple of more sealed pack simulations. The golden ratio is the ratio of units to the rest of the deck that I am looking for in my sealed decks. And those numbers are 50%, so I'm looking for 15 ground units, and I'm looking for about 6 space. So I call it my 15-6 rule. And as we go through, we'll kind of look at how that plays out. I think distribution kind of falls into those ratios pretty naturally, but I also think there's a good reason to do it. I think we want about 50% ground units because the ground arena is just so important. And space, 6 might seem a little low, and I think you could run 7, you could run 8 if you really found super impactful space units, but I just don't think there's that many impactful space units that you're likely to open in 6 packs. And though it might be tempting if you open some really good space units to think, okay, I'm gonna really focus on space here, I think that is often gonna be to your detriment. Ground is the arena that needs to be most hotly contested because that's where the leaders are. You can't just give up the ground. I don't think it's really possible to consistently win in limited and give up the ground. And I also think the main reason for that is you're just not going to draw enough space units that work. You can definitely draw them to help do what you're doing, but it's never going to be, shouldn't be, I think, the focus of your deck. So let's try and open some packs, build a few decks using that 15-6 rule and see where it puts us. That puts us at 21 cards, right? Leaving us 9 spaces for events and upgrades. But we can play with those numbers a little bit. If we don't get enough events, we can up our upgrades up. If we don't get enough of either, we might add a couple of units just to flesh out our units and say, okay, well, I might not have had really impactful events, so I'm going to focus more on this type of unit or that type of unit. But you want it to be intentional in the way you fill out those spaces. So let's see if we can apply the golden ratio to some packs. All right, we get Jin Urso. I like that. Jabba the Hutt is a cool card, but if we don't have at least like 3 trick events, I don't know that we care. I love his HP, but other than that, he's not doing a lot. Admiral Piet can be a really good card if you draw some big units. Attack Pattern Delta is really cool if we can kind of justify paying 5 for it. I think I said in the previous video, you can't really run double aspect out of limited. I just think it hamstrings you on your curve way too much. I do like open fire. Removal is king. Like that is a mantra. Maybe that'll be the title of the 3rd video here. Viper Probe Droid and Cell Block Guard. I like those 2 if we're thinking Imperial. Sabine if we're thinking heroic. We don't need to go any direction right now, but already like the Piet, the Cell Block Guard, the Viper Probe Droid, and Open Fire. Maybe if we can go Villainy Red. That still is only 2 aspects, so we're not getting too focused anywhere. Nothing else really stands out as a card like to really care too much about. But let's see what Pack 2 brings us. Right now, like a little slight skew to Villainy. I think it's important to kind of check your gauge as you go from pack to pack. Like, where is the needle kind of moving? Right now, it's moving a little towards Villainy for me, but nothing really solid after that. Wow, there are some really interesting cards in this pack. Fallen Lightsaber is really, really good if you've got a Force user, right? And I think it's not going to be the reason we play like Vader. I think we'd want to see at least one other Force user that we could play with Vader, even if it's like a Guardian of the Wills to go blue-red. But this card right here is almost too good not to find a way to play. It may not even be that great in limited. It's just so fun. Like, you want to drop a legendary super laser blast at your pre-release event. You want to be that person because that person is having fun. So already I'm thinking, okay, can I find a way to include both of these? I think for the Fallen Lightsaber, I want more than just like a Vader. Hopefully, we can find a fifth brother, seventh sister. If we do go something like aggression, vigilance, then maybe a Guardian of the Wills or two, if we could find some, would also help me feel good about Fallen Lightsaber. I want to get the ability, basically, is what I'm saying. Other things that stand out here. Some good yellow cards in the Gamering Guards and Shoot First. Good heroic aggression card if we were to kind of skew Sabine. But I don't think we're going to be playing Tarkin if we want to go red and blue. Obviously, we won't be. So if I'm kind of leaning red and blue, Chilton is okay. It's always nice to have a Sentinel. I think he's expensive in Limited because chances are you're probably not showing more than maybe 2 blue cards. So like a 4/4/4 Sentinel, that's kind of best case scenario. I know you could find more, but card draw is at a premium in Limited as well. So there's just not a lot of opportunity to get mileage out of Chilton. Nothing else really stands out. A lot of basic kind of filler cards. Let's see. I mean, Dodonna's good if we had more Rebels. We just don't really have any Rebels here so far. I think we had a couple of Cunning Rebels in Pack 1. We get IG. Wow, yeah, I'm really liking this Power of the Dark Side and this Death Trooper. If we can go blue and bring in the Super Laser Blast. I'm also really liking this Super Laser Technician. This Emperor's Legion, unfortunately, is kind of a bad rare in sealed limited play. I mean, I don't think it's unplayable. I think you can put it in and play it. But you only get 6 packs. You're looking for rares that are going to make a big impact on the board, and that's probably not going to make a really big impact on the board. I like Rebel Assault if you're playing like a Leia. We get some good Rebels here in the Dispatcher, Mothma, Rebel Assault, and Snowspeeder. But I don't think it's as good as Power of the Dark Side, one of my absolute favorite events, and that's probably not going to change for a while. So we can run Super Laser Blast, Power of the Dark Side. If you see it early, it's an amazing turn 2 play to clear their board and kind of give you a little advantage there. And then it's great late game after a Super Laser Blast. And Death Trooper is always good. You are never sad to see a Death Trooper. Let's see our next pack here. We're halfway through. Another Tarkin, another Super Laser Technician, but more importantly, another Power of the Dark Side, and a Delmico, and a Scout Bike Pursuer. Wow, yeah, Vigilance, like Villain Vigilance, is really kind of falling into our lap. I love that. You'd hate to see a card like Super Laser Blast and then not have support cards to go with it. We get a second Dodonna, which is pretty fantastic if we somehow found a Rebel deck to play. But right now, I like to build my decks around the most fun and interesting and cool cards. And right now, the ones I'm most interested in, the ones that really have me excited to play from these packs are Super Laser Blast and Power of the Dark Side. So that is making me think we got to go villain here. Can we find a way to play that Fallen Lightsaber? I don't know. A second Dell, what is going on here? Okay, there's that Guardian of the Wills. Okay, so we get one Guardian of the Wills. If we were to go Vader Vigilance, that would give us another way to play that lightsaber and get that ability. We can even play it for 1 less, which is kind of cool. We're only paying 2 for that lightsaber, and our Guardian of the Wills becomes a 5/5 with a big ability on it. I like that. TIE Advance is excellent. We get another attack pattern Delta. I don't think we're going to be running green. We get some Rebels. I like these Rebels. I mean, I can't deny liking these Rebels. We'll have to look and see if there's a Rebel deck. 2 Jawas. Yikes. Zeb is a weird character. You look at his stats and you go, okay, he's a Rebel. You go, I like that. You look at his ability. When this unit completes an attack, if the defender was defeated, you may deal 4 damage to a ground unit. That's a good ability. Everything about him seems good, but why does he never feel impactful when he hits the board? Maybe it's just I haven't played with him enough, but I've played with him in a few decks, and he's hit the table. It just doesn't feel like he's making an impact that much. It's like the Zeb factor. I don't know what it is, but Zeb, you seem like you should be better than you are. we'll investigate that further at another time. In the meantime, he's just not going in our deck. Wow. Okay, we get takedown. I love takedown. Removal, removal, removal. What is it? It's king. So that gives us 2 power of the dark sides, a takedown. We had an open fire earlier if we go with aggression. I don't think we saw a vanquish. It's too bad. I think we'll play the AT-AT suppressor. We can like super laser blast and then play that as our like first unit next turn, which is great because if they manage to play anything, we can exhaust it. And then next turn, I mean, we've got the suppressor. What do they have? Probably not something as good as the suppressor. Surgical droid's not that interesting. Distant patroller, it's something. 2 surgical droids, yikes. Rugged survivors, we're probably going to have to play because we might be a little short on units. I haven't seen a lot. I like that we get a probe droid there. I haven't seen a ton of like Imperial villainy icon stuff to fill in our deck. We'll have to see. It might be a little thin. I think we can still hit our golden ratio, but I had no choice as a cool card, but I think in the final pack, we get kind of Boba. I had no choice, a snapshot reflexes. We'll have to go back and see what else we got in Cunning to maybe make that work, but my gut tells me there wasn't enough there. My gut also tells me we got to find a way to play Super Laser Blast. Okay, so if we went, we could also, interesting. If we wanted to do aggression, we could do IG, but that's going to make the lightsaber less useful. And if opponents playing something weird like Traitorous, which is not that weird in Limited, it's a really good card. I don't necessarily want to put that lightsaber on somebody who's not Vader. I think the Guardian of the Wills is there if we have to have it on somebody else so it's not dead. But in general, we want that on Vader so that it's not getting removed. The lightsaber is so good on Vader. There's 2 on-attack abilities, right? The lightsaber does 1 damage to every enemy unit in the ground arena, and then you get Vader's 2 damage to a unit. So if you choose another ground unit, you're doing 3 to 1 unit and then 1 to everything else. Really, really strong if you can pull it off. So let's make sure we've got a good deck. Piet doesn't really make it. We don't have a lot of big things, but we have I think a really good mid-range, and we have the AT-AT suppressor, and our big thing is that super laser blast. We can do a lot of damage if we plan for it, right? If we see it within the first 3 or 4 turns, we can plan for it, and we can take control of a board pretty much every game if we plan well. So I love that suppressor in this deck. 2 Mikos is really nice. He's a good card. He's a really good card. Helps slow opponents down, make those events expensive. Events are so powerful in Limited because it's pretty much the only hidden information you have, right, in this game. And if you can take away an opponent's hidden information or make them pay a lot more for it, make them choose between a unit or an event, you're in good shape. I wish we got more Death Troopers, but we'll take it. We'll take a Cell Block card also. Guardian of the Wills we'll throw in as an extra just in case for the lightsaber. What else do we get here? I mean, we can play like the Occupier Siege Tank. We can play the Braggart if we want. I'm not hugely excited about the Braggart. I think we probably do play Chilton because we're going to have a good amount of blue cards to hopefully make him worth it. It's just always nice to have more Sentinel. I like the Scout Bike Pursuer, the Rugged Survivors. We did get 2 Probe Droids. I like that. A couple of Wilderness Fighters we can put in there with their shield. Space. Space is going to be rough. Space is going to be really rough. We're not going to hit our golden ratio with space. We're definitely going to be below the ratio, which is going to hurt. So we're going to have a Carillion Freighter. We're going to have a Distant Patroller. We're going to have a TIE Advanced. That's not ideal. That is 3 space cards. I mean, even if we were to go like green, we could get that number up to 5, though you're not really excited about the Patrolling V-Wing doing anything significant in space. The Star Vipers can be good. I think we're going to just have to rely on these 3 space units. See, space can be really tight. I like to get to 6, but we didn't get there. It's going to be a little rough in space. We're going to hope our ground strategy is just that powerful. The good thing is Super Laser Blast blasts space as well. So if we are kind of getting beat on space, it might be a good idea to hold on to our space units if we see them, right? With high advance, you probably want to play if you're going to get usage out of those experience tokens. But if I were to see like a Carillion Freighter, I might hold that until after the blast to try and shore up space. We can play our Resilient. I think we want to play this Fallen Lightsaber because it's fun, and fun cards are fun to play. Keep Fighting. We might find a way to sneak in Keep Fighting. Let's see. Definitely Open Fire. Probably we'll find a space for Moment of Peace. Definitely Takedown. Definitely the Super Laser Blast. Wait, where's our... There, 2 Power of the Dark Sides. I love that. The fact that we got 2, so we'll probably... I mean, chances are you see most of your deck in these limited games. We probably see both Powers of the Dark Side. Maybe 1 pre and 1 post Super Laser Blast. Let's view this. Let's build this deck, I should say. Let's go Vader. And definitely not the Swamp. Vader, Capital City. Let's take it down. So we get the Suppressor. We get the Cell Block Guard. I kind of want to get my for sure units first. And then we can fill in as we go. See where this puts us. 2 Partisan Insurgents. How many other red units are we going to have? I just like him at 4 HP. He's really kind of a good first turn play. Not necessarily with Vader because you're not going to get that trigger on the first turn or any turn from Vader. We only have Partisan Insurgent will count himself. If you get 2 out, that's great. But we only have 3, not counting, well, counting the other Partisan Insurgent. We only have 3 red units. So it's not a great card. He's not going to be turned on very often. So let's see what else we get here. I mean, we get to 13 without even including the Partisan Insurgents. I think we add the Occupier Siege Tank because we're going to get good use out of that no matter what. I like the grit. I like that it hits for 5. It's a solid card. I like those, like, 1 more power than HP cards. You just tend to get really good trades out of those. So if we want to add 1 more unit here, we could add an Insurgent. He's only really going to work off that tank. I mean, I like him better than the Braggart, though, because often the Braggart can just be attacked right into without taking any damage back, and I hate that. I think we're going to add 1 Insurgent, only because we can get him out on turn 1. He might not get turned on, but having a 1/4 that's probably going to stick around a couple turns, it's tough to do 4 damage early game. I don't mind that. And it gives us a turn 1 play, if nothing else. So there's our 15. Space is 3. That is rough. That is rough in space. Upgrades, we definitely want the Fallen Lightsaber. I think we're going to throw in the Resilient. Oftentimes when I'm making a limited deck, I'll often have no upgrades that I really want to play. So I kind of like that we have 2 decent ones there. Let's see. Let's get our removal in here first. So that puts us at 25 cards right now. Let's see. Precision Fire doesn't do a lot for us. You get that +2 if it's a Trooper. What's our Trooper situation looking at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Troopers? That's probably worth a Precision Fire. Yeah, 8 Troopers, that's more than half of our units as Troopers. So let's get a Precision Fire in there. I think we'll get good use out of it. Mission Briefing is such a bad card. We get rid of it. Keep Fighting. We do have a lot of 3 power stuff. Yeah, let's put it in there. I think we might find a use for it. And then let's go back to ground. Let's get that second Partisan Insurgent in there. Maybe, the more you have, the more likely they'll trigger off each other. So we've got 2 cards left. I don't want to add Surgical Droids. I just don't think they're going to be worth it to us. Let's check out our turn 1 plays. Turn 1 plays, ooh, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7. That is what I would call a little bit on the low side for turn 1 plays. But certainly the odds of getting one are overwhelmingly in our favor between a first draw up and a mulligan. Overwhelmingly still in our favor. It's when you only have like 3 or 4 that I start to get a little bit worried. I think 7 is plenty. We'll have to do some testing to see kind of what the lowest number of turn one plays you'd want is, because after turn one, I mean, you want 3 cost and above for the most part. It's nice to have like a 2-drop and a 1-drop sometimes, but generally you want more powerful characters as you ramp, not just like more weak characters. But here's what I want to do. I'm going to turn off the out of aspect filter, and we're going to see if we can plug in anything out of aspect that might be worth playing still. There's just nothing in space that screams interesting. I mean, you can pay 5 for a Consortium Star Viper. I don't really like that idea of paying 5 for that card. We could play 4 for a Patrolling V-Wing. That sounds awful. On attack, if you control a leader unit, you may exhaust a non-leader unit. Paying 4 for the Outer Rim Headhunter is kind of interesting because it has a really good ability. I don't like it though because its impact on space by itself is just kind of a waste. Let's see if there's something else that's impactful that we can play here. I like to get to maybe like 8 events if we can find one more thing that's worth it. Sometimes you have to think outside the box and think, all right, what's a good control card? What's a good removal card? Even if I have to pay extra for it, if there's an enemy unit that I just cannot deal with my units on the board, having something to just get rid of it, delay it, get it out of the way might be worth it. Disarm for 3. That's a bit expensive, but man, my bacon has been saved by Disarm more than once. I don't think it's a bad card at all. So Disarm's kind of interesting. You can definitely like neuter a unit for a turn. Shoot first for 3. I'm going to include a shoot first for 3. I think shoot first is a fantastic card at 1 cost. At 3 cost, it's playable in limited, but that's about the best I can do. Playable in limited, but it gives us removal. Sometimes you have to look outside of aspect to get you the removal that you want to get. Let's look at units. Is there maybe one more unit? Space, unfortunately, was just a real... I mean, this was everything, right? This is all the space out of 6 packs we drew. That's one of the lowest space pulls I've ever had. What could we stick in here with a little bit of an aspect penalty, but is still playable? What stands out? Not a lot is standing out here. We've got almost everything that's villainy in this deck already. We could play like a 7-cost Zeb. Oh man, the Zeb factor would be through the roof. I can't do it. I just don't think Zeb's good enough. Do we pay 8 for a Gorilla Attack Pod? Probably not. I really like Gorilla Attack Pod at that price point of 6 though. Let's see. Only works on Rebels. Not worth it. We could play a Consular Security Force for 6. Consular Security Force for 6. A 3/7 4/6. Nah, I don't like that. I think we probably just add a Braggart. I think that's what we do. We kind of take our medicine. I don't like the Braggart as a character, or as a unit, but he does turn on our insurgents, so we get something out of it. We also get an additional turn 1 play that puts us up to 8, and I like that. That puts me at a more comfortable place. So, is this deck great? I don't think it's great, but I think it's got the pieces it needs to win consistently, and it's got some unexpected cool plays. People are not going to be expecting a Super Laser Blast at a limited event, so the fact that this deck can play it, I think it can get there. It's got enough to certainly like extend the game to 8 resources. I think most limited games get to 8 resources. The rounds go really fast because options are limited, and it's just kind of play what you get, play what you get, play what you get, and make your actions. I like the surprise shoot first. A 3-cost shoot first, like mid game when you've got the resources to do it anyways. Getting that no cost trade, I think is worth 3 resources. Like if I can trade a cell block guard into somebody and not take any damage on my cell block guard because he shot first, and then knowing they have to come back into my cell block guard and we get maybe a orchestrated 2-for-1 in that turn, that's absolutely completely worth it. So I like that idea of a shoot first in the deck. Cool. Let's do one more. Let me get out of here. We'll forfeit. All right. Second shot here. First pack. The first pack is the most exciting, right? We get a Krennic. We get a takedown. I'm always looking for that removal. Strafing Gunship is a really cool rare. It is space, but it's space that affects ground, and often space is a safer space than the ground arena in general in limited. So a strafing gunship, I really like the idea of finding room for that. We don't get a lot of other yellow. We get the 7th Fleet Defender if we go villainy, and we get the Outer Rim Headhunter if we go either, just cunning in general. But I do want to find a way to play Takedown. It's such a good card. If somebody does draw Sabine is, I think, one of the best leaders you can draw in Limited. And the fact that you just have an event that can take down Sabine before she does anything is really, really strong. I love the Green Squadron A-Wings. Battlefield Marine is a fantastic card. A 2/3/3 Rebel and Trooper. That is just Limited. Chef's kiss. Let's see what else we have. Jin. I feel like we're always seeing Jin. There's that 7th sister I would have liked to see in the previous deck, but hey, that's all right. If we don't get it, we don't get it. But we get it now. She is so good. I think she's a lot better than Fifth Brother. Though Fifth Brother's playable, 7th sister is amazing. She's only cost 5. The 3/6 HP on a 5-cost unit is really, really nice. She may not hit for a lot, but she has Saboteur, so she can hit the base every turn. You can't really keep her out of the base. And then whenever she does damage to a base, she's doing 3 damage to a ground unit. So she's not really a 3/6. I mean, she's got everything she needs to hit the base every turn. So to me, she's like a 5/6/6, but that or like 3+3, because she's doing 3 to base and 3 to unit like every turn, and she's not taking anything back from that unit. She is a fantastic rare card. Gosh, I wish her with the lightsaber. Holy, she's even kind of holding it. The yellow cards, I like these. I like Asteroid Sanctuary. I love Surprise Strike. I like the Azatuk. We actually have some space stuff working here. 7th sister, we might have to just find a way to play her. That means either if we're villainy and not red, we probably pay 7 for her. If we're red and not villainy, we probably pay 7 for her. We probably do not pay 9 for her, but I would pay 7 for 7th sister. Ooh, you heard it. What else stands out? A 2nd Green Squadron A-Wing. Man, go fast. It's a good go fast card. Couple of blue things. I always like to see a reinforcement walker, big heavy hitters for the late game. Let's keep going. Maybe a yellow villainy red would be really fun if we could see like a boba. We do get the Chimera out of yellow villainy. Don't like the ability. I think I mentioned that in the last video, but it's a big body and it's shielded, and we would play it for that reason. I love the Smuggler. I like the Swoop Racer, a 2nd Asteroid Sanctuary, and a Bib Fortuna. I think that was our 2nd Mining Guild TIE Fighter. So we're up to maybe like 5 Cunning Space units right now. I like that. I like that a lot. Bamboozle, even if we ran it out of villainy, I would almost pay 4 for that. But what's cooler is if we are playing Cunning, you may discard a Cunning card from your hand instead of paying this event's cost. So you can get around the aspect penalty completely just by discarding like a superfluous mining guild TIE Fighter, and you've got a Bamboozle out of aspect. So I think that's like a pretty cool little interaction that you can manipulate your way into playing in Limited. Let's see what else we have. Didn't see any removal there. Removal, we're a little light on removal right now. We get some solid villainy cards if we want to add the Veers, the Snowtrooper Lieutenant. We get the Gamma Marine guards and the Bounty Hunter crew, both playable cards out of Cunning. So I'm looking at like a Cunning villainy deck. The problem is we haven't seen Like a Boba Fett would be fantastic. We might have to run the Cunning as our base, though, which means we have to figure out what other leader to play. If we do play red, that means so far, I don't think we've seen IG. We certainly haven't seen the Inquisitor. So it might mean another Vader deck. We get the Siege Tank if we're going out of red. Yeah, I love U-Wing Reinforcement. We'll have to double check and see if we didn't get kind of a Rebel style deck to play, but we haven't seen Leia. Usually, if I'm going to go a Rebel deck, if I'm going to go like a non, just kind of Luke basic Vigilance Rebel deck or Vigilance Hero deck, I want to see Leia so I can do Rebels. Let's see what's up in Pack 5. There's Boba Fett. Let's go. All right, we are getting what we need. We get a Cartel Spacer. We get 2 Corellian Freighters. We get a second 7th Sister. A second Bamboozle, a Waylay. I'm loving what's happening with this deck. I think Cunning decks are really, really fun to play. I think we've drawn some powerful cards to play Cunning red. With 2 7th Sisters, I think we play Boba red. That could change depending on what we see in Pack 6, but Boba red with a strong space presence. We're going to hit that golden ratio, no problem. And we're going to have a 7th Sister, 2 copies of 7th Sister at her 5 cost is really, really good. I love the kind of the tricking in the bamboozles, too, with other bad yellow cards, which can be a really nice play if the opponent sees that you're out of resources. You can, like, trick in the bamboozle. Fun. Let's see Pack 6. A Chirrut. I think that's our 3rd Cartel Spacer. Wow, this is going to be a very spacey deck. We get another Waylay. Do we pay 7 for a Cantina Bouncer? Probably not, but not impossible. Jawa, we get a little First Legion Snowtrooper to throw. Oh, we get Bombing Run. I love Bombing Run out of Limited. It's kind of feeling like we can go space a little bit here and then push a Bombing Run in the mid game in order to gain advantage on ground. I think Bombing Run, you don't want to overplay your hand with Bombing Run. You definitely don't want to just like not deploy to ground. It's not a good strategy. You're going to get too far behind. But if you are carefully playing your ground arena game to just like ping enemies, like do a damage here, maybe do 2 on this, you don't even need to worry about the trades if you've got the Bombing Run, because you just want to wait until you've got those 5 resources. And if you can get the most benefit out of Bombing Run is just wiping the board, right? You want to wipe their board, and if you play it right, you might not even wipe your board if you've got some units with more than 3 health. But you're not worried about those trades yet. You just want to get a little bit of damage on everything so that when everything gets 3, you get that really unexpected board flip. I love that we got Bombing Run. We were already going red. We get a shoot first. Fantastic. I don't think we'll play the Cantina Bouncer because I think we saw a couple of Waylays if we want to play them. And though he is a unit, which is nice, paying 7 for that or paying 3 for this is kind of a no-brainer. I like the Gamorrean Guard. We've got multiple Jawas at this point if we need them for first turn plays. Yeah, I think we've got a really cool deck here. Let's take a look at the pool. I thought we were going to have to do like a Vader Cunning deck, and that really wasn't looking very interesting to me. A Boba Fett aggression deck does absolutely sound interesting to me. We get Bib Fortuna. I love it. Bib can play those events for cheaper. 2 Bounty Hunter crews to get a little bit of event recursion. Cell Block Guard's going to go in there. The Crafty Smuggler. We can sneak in a First Legion Snowtrooper out of that aggression. Even an Ardent Sympathizer if we need to. I don't think we're going to need him, though. We've got so many good cunning units here. Veers, I don't know. He's like a 3/3/3 isn't bad. Do we have much Imperial? The Snowtrooper. Let's see what else we have Imperial-wise. The Cell Block Guard. Definitely the Gamorrean Guards are getting in there. Just 2 Jawas. Okay, I thought it was 3, just 2. The Partisan Insurgent. We can get an Occupier Siege Tank in there. We get the Snowtrooper Lieutenant. 7th Sisters. 2 of those alone might make it worth it to throw a Veers in. And we get, oh my gosh, I am so excited. So we're not playing Hero, so we're not going to play the Azatuk. But we're going to get 2 Spacers, Chimera, we can play the Carillion Freighters, the 7th Fleet Defender, and 2 Mining Guild TIE Fighters. We might not... Oh, and the Strafing Gunship. I forgot about the gunship. Well, our rares have really kind of been nice. They've fallen into our deck archetype really well. I mean, I think we probably just go 0 upgrades because we need space for these events. We've got really good events. The Forced Surrender is just so expensive. You usually, if you play it right, you usually clear out your opponent's hand and get that card draw. But for 6, you're just taking such a tempo hit in the name of card draw. I don't know if it's worth it. But bombing runs, the sneaky bamboozles, asteroid sanctuaries. We don't really get true removal or permanent removal in this deck. But the Surprise Strike, the Shoot First, should result in either like a game-winning play in Surprise Strike, certainly removal in Shoot First. Waylay is that soft removal we don't mind having. All right, let's go. We're going to have kind of a lot of events, but that's okay because we got Boba. And Boba's going to give us that extra resource before he becomes a unit. And then when he becomes a unit, if we're playing him right, we're getting 2 extra resources a turn. If we use those smartly with our events, we're going to do well. We're going to be just fine. We go Boba, and we go, what, Catacombs or Kestro City? I kind of like the idea of Catacombs. All right. We'll come back to Ardent Sympathizer. We definitely want these amazing cards. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of yellow units, so they're going to have Sentinel turned on a lot. We'll come back to you, Veers. I think I want the Scavengers just to have those nice early plays. Siege Tank, Insurgent. We're going to have a decent amount of red units. 2 Seventh Sisters. So good. Snowtrooper Lieutenant. All right, we are at 15 right now. I think we come back and add some more, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Cartel Spacers are so good. Let's get them in there. Chimera, I love it as a late game card. Let's go. The Mining Guild TIE Fighters, they might be getting cut here. I definitely want the Outer Rim. I definitely want the 7th Fleet, and I definitely want the Strafing Gunship. Now that puts us at 6, which is our minimum. Is it better to have like Carillion Freighters in there for a little bit of space Sentinel, or is it better just to have the events necessary to take things out? Let's see. Upgrades, we're skipping. We've got our ratio, though. We start with the golden ratio, and then we work on it. But once we've... I love having 15 and 6. To me, it just feels like we have the bones of a deck. Now it's just making it fun and interesting and competitive. Bombing run, for sure. Shoot first, for sure. Surprise strike, for sure. So then it becomes, do we want to run these asteroid sanctuaries? They can be very good. I love it. On the turn, opponent plays their leader, and you just, boom. It kind of takes away that advantage of playing a leader for free in that turn at least. It's really good. If an opponent plays like a huge unit and you just don't have a way to deal with it, but maybe you have a way to win as long as you can kind of neutralize it. Just take initiative, go first next turn, exhaust it out, shield up maybe something that you need to push through, and then you can push through. I think we need to add both. Confiscate, no. Force surrender, no. Keep fighting, nah. Though keep fighting, wow. Keep fighting works on 7th Sister. That's really good. Wow. I didn't even think because she's only 3 power. A keep fighting on 7th Sister would be sick. Right? You're hitting the base for 6 and 2 ground units. Let's do it. I just like the combo. And because we have 2 of them, 2 sisters, I think we do it. It also works good with 1st Legion Snowtrooper. If you can get him to go off twice, he can do a lot there. You do it with him once. Maybe he takes 2 damage. Then he's a damage unit. You attack with him again. Now he's a 4 unit with Overwhelm. I like that. So I think there's other options, but 7th Sister is definitely who we want to find with that keep fighting. Precision Fire, we do have a good amount of troopers. I just don't like it unless you have to play something like that. We're at 27 cards. So do we want to play these Waylays? I think we probably do, because it gives us another way to deal with big events. We can get their cost reduced with Bib. We can get them recursed with our we got something. Bounty Hunter crew, and we can kind of cover the curve because we play Boba. We want events. We want events in this deck. We've got things that work well with events. Let's see. It would be cheeky to play a forced surrender here. I don't think we're going to do it. I think we want another ground unit. We had other good ones. So do we sneak in a Veers without a whole lot of Imperial, or do we put in a Swoop Racer? Same cost, but gives me one more power. Most of the time, Veers isn't going to be doing much. Maybe he's giving a +1/+1 to somebody. You know what? I don't like that if I have Veers and Seven Sister out there, the Seven Sister then can't be used with my Keep Fighting. I know that's like super edge case, but all things considered, I think the Swoop Racer is always good, and General Veers is fine and pretty limited. I don't have a lot of Imperials. All right, that's our 30-card deck. We're hitting the golden ratio, kind of exactly where I like. 16, 6, 8. Beautiful. Let's see. Turn 1 plays. I love Bib Fortuna as a turn 1 play with that shielded. We've got 1, 2, another great turn 1 play. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Though not great turn 1. If you had to, you could on a like after you mulliganed. If all I saw were Cartel Spicers, I'd take a mulligan. But if I drew one again, I'd be like, well, at least I have a card to play. Though I don't know, maybe even hold it. Outer Rim is not great to play turn 1, but it can be played. So we really only have like 8 that I would really want to play, but that hits me where I want to be, right? So yeah, this deck I'm more excited about even than the first one because we drew Boba, because we drew 2 Seven Sisters, because we drew a lot of fun events like Bombing Run. We've got some bomb units in the Chimera flagship coming in late to really disrupt the board. If things have kind of gotten stale in the late game, I think that ship comes in and the opponent has to deal with it, or it can just win in a couple of turns. This is a cool deck. I really, really look forward to playing a deck like this at the pre-release. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching my video and staying all the way to the end. If you like what you see, please hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps me out, all right? Catch you in the next one.